The morning light spilled across the bedroom floor, casting long shadows that reached under the bed. I had no reason to look there, no reason to suspect anything. But as I stretched across the carpet, searching for a dropped phone charger, my fingers brushed against something cold and metallic. It was the family ring, a gold heirloom passed down through generations of my friend Alex's family. I knew the ring well. I had seen it gleaming on Alex's finger countless times. Finding it here, beneath my own bed, sent a chill through me. Why is Alex's ring here? I murmured to myself, turning the piece over in my hands. It should have been on Alex's hand, not lying forgotten in a dust bunny haven. The house was quiet, too quiet, as I pocketed the ring and rose to my feet. A sinking feeling twisted in my gut as I headed towards the living room, searching for my wife, Clara. She wasn't there. Neither was she in the kitchen, nor the garden where she usually tended her roses. My steps led me back to the bedroom, drawn by a muffled laugh that wasn't mine. The door was ajar, and through the sliver of space, the world tilted. Alex and Clara, wrapped in a deceitful embrace on the bed we shared. My heart pounded, a mix of betrayal and disbelief coursing through me as I pushed the door open. Clara's eyes widened in shock, her lips parting but no sound coming out. Alex, ever the quick thinker, jumped up, his face ashen. "It's not what it looks like," he stammered, but the cliché fell flat, an insult to the years of friendship between us. "How long?" My voice was a low growl, barely recognizable to my own ears. Clara started to sob, her hands shaking. "I'm so sorry. It was a mistake." "A mistake?" I cut her off, throwing the ring at Alex's feet. "This ring under my bed was a mistake. Or was the real mistake thinking you could fool me?" Alex looked down, the guilt etching deep lines around his eyes. He had no defense, no lies left to shield him. The room felt suffocating as the truth hung heavy between us. I turned to Clara, who was now crying uncontrollably. "Pack your things," I said quietly. "I want you gone by tonight." "But where will I go?" she pleaded, her voice broken. "Anywhere but here," I replied, my decision final. As Clara hurriedly packed her belongings, tears staining her face, I sat alone with my thoughts. The initial shock gave way to a cold resolve. Clara had not only betrayed our vows, but shattered the trust one had in her completely. Revenge seemed not just necessary, but a rightful claim. While Clara sobbed in the next room, I picked up my phone and dialed the number of the best divorce lawyer in town. "I need to see you all today," I said when the call connected. "It's urgent." With every item Clara removed from our home, I felt a piece of my old life peel away, leaving a void filled with dark intentions. She would regret her actions, deeply and bitterly. I made a vow, then and there, to ensure her deceit would cost her more than just our marriage. As the final door slammed, marking Clara's exit, the house echoed with a new silence. It was the sound of a chapter closing and another, darker one beginning. The sharp click of the front door shutting behind Clara echoed like a gunshot in the now empty house. I stood in the hallway, the weight of her departure settling around me like a dense fog. The silence was oppressive, but beneath it, a plan began to simmer, a plan for retribution that matched the depth of her betrayal. The next morning, I was at my lawyer's office, papers strewn across the sleek, mahogany desk. Mr. Harrow, a silver-haired man with a reputation for being ruthless in court, tapped his pen against his chin, his gaze sharp and calculating. "We can go for everything," he said, his voice a low rumble of promised vengeance. "The house, the cars, the bank accounts. We'll make her regret she ever crossed you." I nodded, the bitterness hardening like steel in my veins. "I want to ensure she can't just walk away from this unscathed." "Understood," Mr. Harrow replied, scribbling notes. "I'll file for an emergency court date. We'll blindside her, give her no room to maneuver." As I left his office, my phone buzzed, a message from Alex. "We need to talk." "I'm sorry, man. Can we meet?" Anger flared within me, but a cold, strategic part of my mind saw an opportunity. I texted back, "Park by the river. 1 hour." The park was deserted, the overcast sky casting a pall over the usually vibrant greens and blues. Alex was there, pacing by the water's edge, his face haggard. "You look like hell," I said as I approached, my voice devoid of sympathy. Alex stopped pacing, his hands clenched. "I never meant for any of this to happen. I've lost everything too. My fiancée left me when she found out." "Good," I spat the word out. "You deserve to lose everything." "I know I do," he admitted, his shoulders slumping. "But I'm here to make things right." "How?" My question was sharp, like the edge of a knife. "I have contacts in the media," Alex said hesitantly. "What if the whole city knew what Clara did? Her social circles, her job. It would ruin her." A slow, cold smile spread across my face. "Do it. Make her as miserable as she made me." Alex nodded, taking out his phone. "I'll start the process. They'll want proof, though." I pulled out copies of texts and photos Clara had foolishly left accessible on her old laptop. "Will this do?" "More than enough," Alex said, a hint of his old confidence returning as he took the papers. "I'll take care of it." As I watched him leave, the last vestige of our friendship withering away, I felt a dark satisfaction. Clara's betrayal would soon be public knowledge. The thought fueled me, a fiery pulse in my veins urging me on. That night, back in the solitude of my home, I poured myself a drink, the ice clinking like sweet music. I toasted to the downfall that would soon engulf Clara, my heart stone cold with the resolve of revenge. This was just the beginning, and I was ready to stoke the flames. The sun was just setting, casting long shadows across the city as I sat in my darkened living room, waiting. The sound of my phone buzzing shattered the silence, a message from Alex lighting up the screen. "It's done. Check the news." I switched on the TV, the remote cold in my grip. The local news channel was already running the story, a bold headline flashing across the screen: "Local scandal, infidelity shakes community." There was Clara's face, unmistakable, caught in a candid photo with Alex. The anchor detailed the affair with a tone of juicy intrigue that made the betrayal sound like a primetime drama. Within hours, my phone was inundated with messages and calls, friends, family, and even distant acquaintances expressing their shock, their support, their disdain for Clara. Each message fueled my satisfaction, the retribution tasting sweet. But the phone rang with a number I didn't recognize. Hesitant but curious, I answered. "Is this about the news?" I asked, cautious. The voice on the other end was sharp, cold. "You don't know me, but we have a mutual concern, Clara." I tensed, interest peaked. "Who are you?" "Someone who's been looking for a way to even the score with her for a long time," the caller replied. "Seems like you beat me to it." "Why are you calling me?" I prodded, suspicion threading through my curiosity. "Because I think you and I can help each other out," the voice suggested, a hint of menace underlying the offer. "There's more to Clara's story, more that can help you crush her completely." I was silent, considering. The intrigue was undeniable. "Meet me tomorrow, cafe downtown, 8 a.m. Don't be late." The line went dead, leaving me staring at the phone, my mind racing. Who was this new ally in my quest for revenge? The next morning, the cafe buzzed with the quiet hum of early risers sipping coffee and scrolling through their phones. I spotted a man in the corner, his face obscured by a newspaper, but his watch, a flashy, expensive model, betrayed his attempt at anonymity. "You the one who called last night?" I asked as I approached. He lowered the newspaper, a smirk playing on his lips. "You're sharper than she said." My heart skipped. "You know Clara personally?" "Knew her," he corrected, his expression darkening. "She ruined my business with her schemes. I've been waiting for a chance to return the favor." "What do you propose?" I asked, wary yet intrigued. The man slid an envelope across the table. Inside were documents, detailed accounts of shady dealings, financial fraud, all linked back to Clara. "This is her undoing." Take it to the authorities, and she won't just be humiliated, she'll be finished. I rifled through the papers, each page adding weight to my resolve. Why give this to me? Because watching her fall from your hand will bring me peace, he said, standing up. Consider this a gift. Good luck. As he walked away, the cafe returning to its mundane buzz, I felt the final piece of the puzzle click into place. With these documents, Clara wouldn't just lose her reputation, she'd lose everything. The game was set, the players aligned, and as I left the cafe, the early morning sun seemed to burn brighter. Clara's final downfall was imminent, and I was the architect of her demise. The morning air was crisp as I walked towards the courthouse, the documents from my mysterious ally heavy in my briefcase. Today was the day Clara's fate would be sealed. My steps were firm, my resolve unshakable. Inside the courthouse, I found my lawyer, Mr. Harrow, already waiting. His face was a mask of professionalism, but his eyes gleamed with the anticipation of victory. We have everything we need, I said, handing him the briefcase. He glanced through the documents quickly, his smile widening. With this, her case is as good as closed. She won't know what hit her. The courtroom filled slowly, the buzz of whispered conversations creating a tense atmosphere. Clara walked in, her face pale, her eyes scanning the room until they found mine. There was a flicker of something, fear, perhaps regret, but it vanished as quickly as it appeared. As the hearing began, each charge was laid out, the evidence presented with ruthless efficiency. Clara's lawyer tried to defend her, but the onslaught was too much. The documents were damning, a clear trail of deceit and fraud. When the judge called for a recess, Clara approached me, her posture defeated. "Please, can we talk?" she pleaded. I considered her for a moment, then nodded curtly. We stepped into an empty hallway, her heels clicking ominously on the tiled floor. "Why did you do it?" I asked, not willing to offer an inch of sympathy. Clara sighed, her shoulders slumping. "I was greedy, foolish. I thought I could have everything. I never meant to hurt you." "But you did," I said coldly. "And now you pay the price." She nodded, tears welling up in her eyes. "I know. I'm sorry, truly." "Sorry doesn't change what you did," I replied, turning to leave. "Wait," she called out. Her voice cracked with desperation. "There's something you should know. Alex, he planned this from the start. He used me to get to you." I stopped, my heart skipping a beat. "What are you talking about?" "He knew about the ring, about us," Clara continued, her voice trembling. "He wanted revenge for something you did years ago, something you might not even remember. He orchestrated everything to make you suffer." The revelation hit me like a truck. Betrayal upon betrayal. I felt the room spin, the walls closing in. "You're lying," I managed to say. "I'm not," she insisted. "Check his phone, his emails. You'll see the truth." The final part of the hearing was a blur. I moved through it mechanically, my mind racing, the seeds of doubt taking root. After the verdict, guilty on all counts, I didn't join the victorious murmurs. Instead, I found Alex, waiting outside with a tight smile. "Congratulations," he said as I approached. "I know what you did," I said quietly, watching him closely. His smile faltered. "I don't know what you—" "Save it," I cut him off, my voice harsh. "I know everything." For a moment, Alex looked like he might argue. Then, the fight went out of him. "So, what now?" "Now," I said, stepping closer, my voice a menacing whisper, "you lose everything." I didn't wait to see his reaction. I walked away, leaving him standing there, a figure of defeat. The drive home was long, the road stretching endlessly as I contemplated the twisted web of deceit I had been ensnared in. But as the city lights faded into the distance, a plan formed in my mind. A plan not just for retribution, but for erasing the past, for starting anew. A life without Clara, without Alex, without betrayal. As the sun set, painting the sky with strokes of fire, I felt a weight lift off my shoulders. The battle was over, and I was free. Free to rebuild, to find peace. And maybe, in time, to forgive myself for the hatred that had consumed me.